Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to make some people butthurt for sure because we're going to go over what are my favorite hard use pistols right now in the striker fired game. So no hammer love on this one, but I promise we're going to be doing a series on hammer fired hard use pistols very soon. But since striker fired rigs are the most widely carried amongst the military, police, and just all of us regular guys and gals out there in the street, I figured why not start here? Now, the caveat to this is I have gotten to run hundreds and hundreds of guns in my life, from my careers as an Army Ranger to law enforcement, and of course being your humble YouTuber that tries to steer you away from buying absolute trash. So this is going to be a no BS approach where we're going to go over the good and the bad with all of my choices today. Now, to start this off, we are going to go over my personal bias, my personal favorite one first, and that is going to be some version of the Walther PDP right here. This is the new Pro X with the flush comp setup right there. And I'm running it in a tier 1 holsters because they're just the best thing going right now. But Walther's just got a ton of PDP offerings right now, from compact to full size, Acro Pro Cuts, the Pro SD, the Pro Comp X version like this. And they are coming out with more because it's kind of a modular frame and slide design, which is very, very cool. I probably got like 8 of these right now. And again, it's my personal bias. But before we get to all the reasons why I really love and think the PDP is a great pistol, let's go over any potential issues or problems, or what the internet may say may be an issue or a problem, because the internet gonna internet, right? And let's start off with the initial optics cut design. So the lug engagement, or the interface of the optics system, when these things first came out, it was just smooth and they kind of locked in, and then the screws in there kind of forced the plate forward. And there were people out there saying, oh, this was gonna fail, it was gonna break. And so Walther actually came out with a 2.0 variation where it literally looks like a maze in there with a big FU at the end of it for the haters. It's got like a ton of lug engagement. And I know a lot of people that tried to break the original 1.0 design for the optics plates, and all they really found out was that these little tiny screws in there all give way at about the same amount of force, no matter what pistol they are on. But there was a flurry of internet people saying that these things were just bad up front, and just all kinds of that stuff, which turned out to be a big nothing burger. But Walther did respond with a just crazy looking optic lug engagement system to kind of quiet that down. Next up is going to be the out of battery trigger issue. This is what the internet coined as a fatal flaw with the pistol. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, they basically said that if you're doing some form of contact training, you're driving the muzzle into a target, whatever your target is, right? And that slide came out of battery, you could pull the trigger, and then when you let out, you wouldn't get a break. The trigger was just dead. So that was something that is true on the initial version of the PDP, but as you can see, it's not like that anymore, right? They have done some changes inside that to alleviate that issue as a whole. What I can tell you is if you get any striker fired pistol that far out of battery, the trigger's not going to work appropriately until it goes back into battery. Now, most striker fired rigs, the trigger will not be dead when it goes back into battery. Again, Walther fixed that problem. Now, was that a real issue? Yes. Could I see why people maybe would not want to carry a PDP in its original configuration as a defensive or duty style pistol? I can understand that. Is it ever something that bothered me? No. Didn't even care about it at all. And I still even think my 1.0 versions, right, that are in the safe are still some of my favorite duty style pistols out there in the market. But I can see where people did have a problem. Do I think it's some crazy, insane, fatal flaw? Absolutely not. And the last thing I promise when it comes to the PDP series is the bore axis issue, right? The bore axis is the line of the center of the barrel right there as compared to the height of your hand. This is what I call my bore axis babies who say, oh, you can't control it. There's so much muzzle rise, so much muzzle flip. And I'll respond to that with just this clip of video. Anybody in the comments gonna deny how flat that thing ran? All right, now before we get to the good stuff, if you guys are interested in anything we're talking about today, I'm gonna have a parts list link down below. It'll be the first link in the description. And for those of you kings out there watching this in your break room, casting it to the TV so everybody can indulge, I'll put a QR code up here for you so you can check everything out as you scroll through that TV, right? Now, let's talk about all the good stuff when it comes to the Walther PDP, at least in my opinion, and I think a lot of people that give it a shot actually agree with me on this. This thing has an absolutely amazing trigger, right? This is probably the best striker fired trigger in the game right now on a duty style pistol. It has absolutely great ergonomics, great texture on the grip, great serrations on the slide. It's optics ready, interchangeable back straps. These things are accurate as can be. I regularly take mine out to like 130 plus yards just to kind of show off to my friends that these things are absolutely awesome. And you can do that with a lot of striker fired pistols, but I just find it a little bit easier with the PDP because it just fits me due to those ergonomics. And overall, the PDP series is just an exceptionally well-rounded pistol, from the pistol grip all the way out to the muzzle, especially if you get yourself that factory comped version. Next up in the game here is going to be one of the pistols from my Ultimate Duty build series of videos, and that's going to be the Glock 45 MOS, but as it sits right here with all the trimmings, which is about 2,200 galactic notes. So no small fee when it comes to rocking a prime Glock. So what is the bad when it comes to a Glock? Because some people think Glock's perfection, there's nothing bad. Well, it's a Glock, so it takes about $2,200 to make it not suck. And I say that kind of jokingly, right? But let's just face it, the trigger in a Glock, it's just not great. You gotta change it out. The angles are not great. There's really no standout features on a Glock at all, but damn, the thing just absolutely works, and it will likely outlast cockroaches and probably live through a nuclear blast. And then your grandmother probably has some Glock parts hidden away in the attic just for emergency case use. But there is actually a lot of good, right, when it comes to the Glock. The things are so well proven, the durability, the reliability, the ease of use, the ease of maintenance on these things, the cheapness of parts, the availability of parts. All of those are really good elements to a Glock pistol. And they are so easy to soup up, just like a small block Chevy motor. No matter what you want to do to it, somebody makes a part for it. You get those interchangeable back straps, front and rear serrations, and overall, the thing is just a bruiser. It absolutely works out there, and hands down, this is my favorite Glock pistol because it just performs. But as you see it with all the radium parts, the overwash trigger, the magwell, everything going on here, it's about 2,200. And I have to say, that is absurd for a Glock pistol, but what? Yeah, this ain't no practice life, so who cares? Get what you want. But in all seriousness, a factory Glock is going to do you just fine. I carried one for years on duty. I trust them endlessly. I've had to use them in real life, and they will always get the job done as long as you are doing your job on the end of it as the user. And last up here, and this is one that some people out there may disagree with, and that is going to be the Shadow Systems XR920P, the factory flush comp version right here. It's just so good. And I know it is a Glock clone, right? But it gives you everything right out of the box, so you don't have to spend 22 hundo to make it what it is, right? So unlike the Glock 45 that you saw, this one pretty much comes primo right out of the box for about half the cost of what it would take to build the Ultimate Duty Glock. But what is the bad here, right, when it comes to Shadow Systems? Because it's a Glock clone, right? Now, from my experience, my XR920Ps, all my full-size stuff has ran 100% reliable. I have several thousand rounds through that XR920P, but I do know several people that are personal friends of mine that have had issues with Shadow Systems pistols, whether it was in that 200 round break-in process or beyond it. So I can say, at least anecdotally with the evidence that I have, that they are maybe not as reliable as a true Glock from Glock Inc., right? Now, you may agree with me, you may disagree with me, but that is just my experience with them, both personal and knowing people that I trust that shoot thousands and thousands of rounds. So I take that into account. The other thing that could be seen as a possible negative up front is they are more expensive up front. But again, as we talk about here on the positive side in a second, you're gonna see that they literally come with everything you could possibly wanna do to your factory Glock right out of the box. And you're probably gonna save money in the end for a pistol that's very close to reliable as a Glock. What is the good here when it comes to the XR920P? Because this is an absolutely option-packed pistol. First off, let's talk about grip texture. You get that sandpaper-like texture all over the grip. Some of the best in the game. Very good stuff right there. You get an included magwell. You get a better optic cut that's direct to slide and modular. Better slide serration. It's flush comped from the factory, included back straps so you can fit it to your size. Better metal mid-height night sights so you can actually still use them with an optic. Double undercut on the trigger guard. Just about everything ergonomically wise here is better than a Glock, and the thing runs flat as can be unless you just suck at controlling recoil. And if you suck right now, don't worry about it. You can get better with practice, because we all sucked at one point in life when it came to pistol, right? Now, I do have an honorable mention, one that has almost won me over, that I'm willing to say 100% duty ready, that I would absolutely carry, trust my life to. I've got 3 of these things now. I've got several thousand rounds through them, from the full size to the compact. And I think I am there. I'm like 99.9% there. I just want to see a little bit more time in the market, and that's going to be the Springfield Echelons right here. Such a leap forward for Springfield. So it's an internal chassis design, kind of like the P320 that's all over the news right now. You've got a modular grip system. You've got better serrations, better sights, a better optic cut on here. There's just so much good when it comes to the Echelon. And I know, if you don't know, it's actually made by HS Product in Croatia, and then it's branded and imported for Springfield Armory. But I think they finally have a viable option out there that could be widely carried in law enforcement, because the XDs were pretty good. I've had a few of them and I liked them, but the Echelon is just leaps and bounds beyond what the XD series ever was. And I think as these things get more and more popular, you're gonna see that these things are actually really, really good. Now, I know some of you may agree or disagree. Let me know in the comments. And I know my hammer fired fans out there are absolutely pissed at me, but I promise you, I'm doing a hammer fired series. I'm just waiting for a certain new hammer thing to come in from the Staccato boys that I ordered like several weeks ago, and I'm still waiting on it. But that's what happens when a new pistol comes out. You gotta get in line, right? Because Staccato ain't showing me no love. They'll save that love for Tim Kennedy. Just a slight poke right there. But that's coming in. I will do a hammer fired series, because I have another hammer fired thing coming in that's not out on market yet. And I'm hoping it's going to turn out to be just as good as a lot of the other hammer fired stuff that some of us out there love and enjoy to use, whether it's range fun or for a duty pistol. Make sure you get subbed up. That parts list is the first link down below. That QR code is up here for you. And always remember, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready.